If you have ongoing exposure to controlling people, it's a virtual certainty that you're going to experience blurry boundaries, which is why I've created the extensive online course called This Is Me, Establishing Boundaries with the Controllers in Your Life. There's a link below that will give you all of the details, and I hope that you would find it therapeutic. There can be something both good and not so good when you engage with your healthy and normal interaction style with that narcissist. The good thing is you're trying to bring a sense of maturity and well-being to the relationship because you want to have a connection. The bad thing is you're attempting to apply your good skills with someone who doesn't know what to do with it. Let's keep in mind that narcissists are manipulators, they're schemers, they are living constantly in compensation for all sorts of unresolved issues in their own personalities. They're terribly insecure, which is why they have to control people and events and circumstances. And so one of the things that you can do that can set you up for a great deal of hurt and strain and tension is you can wish to have normalcy in an abnormal set of circumstances. So understanding that, I have come up with what I consider 10 key rules of thumb that you want to hold on to as you engage with that narcissist so that you can survive the garbage and the dysfunction they throw at you. Now, notice that I say when, not if. It's going to happen. Do you have a game plan? So let me run through these 10 rules of thumb for surviving life with a narcissism. And the first rule of thumb that I'm going to give you is do not presume normalcy from a narcissist. Now, many times they can give the appearance of being normal. They can seem pleasant. They can even let you know that they're willing to cooperate, and they may say, well, help me understand why you're doing what you're doing. But keep in mind also that as they do that, it's all one big facade. Narcissists live behind a false front. They can give the impression of decency and all so that it can become part of their manipulative tool that they can use against you. It's a sad thought to think I can't let myself think that I'm dealing with a normal person. Standard operating procedures don't work with this narcissist. A second rule is stay very neutral in your self-revelations. In healthy relationships, of course, you want to talk and have a fair sense of give and take and exchange of who you are and thoughts and feelings and ideas. With narcissists, it's like, no, I have to be very guarded and careful because you see, when you talk with narcissists about who you are and what you think or what your plans are, they're data collectors. And eventually, they're going to take whatever personal or insightful things that you have to say, and they're going to use it against you. I've had so many people who can look back upon their relationship with a narcissist and think, well, I gave them these plans, or I shared with them my past experiences, or my hurts, or my failures, or my desires. And wow, I wish I had never said anything of that nature to that person again, because they can and will use that against you. Sad to think that way, but that's what they do. Or a third rule that you want to hold on to is drop any assumptions that you might have about their loyalty toward you. You, as a loyal person, might think, well, I'm here for you, therefore I presume that you'll be there for me, right? And the answer is wrong. Narcissists are loyal to one person and one person only. That's me, myself, and I. That's actually three, but you know what I'm saying. They're fair weather acquaintances. We can't even say they're fair weathered friends. The relationship to them is not something that requires their loyalty to you. Now, you need to be loyal to them, so they think. But when conflicts show up or when differences arise, watch how loyal they're going to be, and you're going to get the low end of that bargain every single time. They're not loyal people. They don't see you as being somebody that they want to share fair exchanges with. That's not in their makeup. Rule number 4 is don't expect any kind of heart connection. Now, if we're in a work setting, I can, when I talk about heart connection, I can talk about it as them really wanting to know you and where you're coming from and what your backstory is. But in personal, whether it's social or family or marriage or your kids, narcissists do not want to know the backstory that you bring to the equation. They don't want to know your emotions. They don't want to know your needs and why you feel and think as you do. They don't have empathy. That's part of the defining feature of narcissists. As long as a narcissist gets what they want, they're fine. But otherwise, it's not going to be good. They don't want to know you. They want to use you. A fifth rule of thumb for you to hold on to, and that is, under no circumstances enter into their power plays. Do not enter into their power plays. To them, a relationship is a place where they get to flex their muscles. Remember that one of the defining features of narcissism is the craving to be in control, specifically over you. And you'll notice that when differences arise, they'll use all sorts of power tactics, whether it's shame communication or harshness or anger or raging or stubbornness or I'll make you pay, guilt inductions. All of that's part of their power play. They want to let you know, hey, I'm the most powerful, I'm the most dynamic person in the room, and don't you forget it. And then if you go back and say, well, no, you can't do this to me, and I'm going to do this, and you start going into your anger in reverse, all they're thinking is, oh, I can play with this all day long. And they love it. They eat it up. A sixth rule of thumb is refrain from any kind of rationalization or justification. In their power plays and in their sense of entitlement, they're thinking, you owe me an explanation. You need to tell me why you do what you do, and you have to be accountable to me. And in healthy relationships, I'm more than happy to be that way. But when a narcissist comes along with that and they say, you better have a good reason for you being you, it's like, okay, I have a good reason for me being me. I make sense. That's enough. I'm not going to justify it. I'm not going to rationalize, and I'm not going to try to explain why it's okay for me to be me. I make sense. That's enough. Then a seventh rule is build in what I call relationship pessimism. And I know that can be very foreign for you if you're an optimistic or a willing and caring kind of person. But I've had so many people come and talk with me about that narcissistic individual, and they'll say something like, they're just a jerk, or they're so impossible. And my response when I hear that can be, yeah, I know. Let that soak in. When you have this presumption, but they can't be that way. Well, actually, yes, they can. They have a free will, and that's what they're doing with their free will. They freely choose to be negative. You have to build in a certain amount of pessimism. There are just some people that don't care and they don't have insight, and you have to factor that in as you interact with these individuals. An eighth rule that we're going to hold on to is don't plead for or expect any apologies from this individual. Whenever there's a difficulty, whenever there's a strain inside a relationship, and even when they failed or you've caught them red-handed in a mistake, they're not going to give any kind of sincere apology at all. Guess what? It's always someone else's fault, or the universe did it to them, or you did it, or it's their childhood or something like that, to the extent that I'm not going to take responsibility for me. And if they do apologize, they'll renege on it pretty quickly. They don't make amends well at all. A ninth rule that you want to hold on to is try not to take the narcissist's rejection personally. I know this is a hard one, because you're thinking, well, it is me that's being rejected, and it's me that's on the receiving end of their rage and their manipulation and all of that. Why am I not supposed to take that personally? And I understand that up to a point. But then when we begin thinking, you know what? If you were not on the scene and they were with someone else, they'd be acting the same way. It's not about you. They want to make their rage or their stubbornness or their irrationality about you, but it's not. Try not to take it as a personal commentary. Realize they're just simply revealing what's on the inside of themselves that's erratic and dysfunctional. And then a 10th rule that I can throw at you is plan in advance how you're going to engage with that narcissist. This is the beginning point of what we refer to as boundaries, relationship boundaries. Boundaries means you have a well-conceived notion of healthy living, and you stay with it, and then knowing that that narcissist brings all of their dysfunction and control and lack of empathy, you want to think in advance. I need to know who I'm going to be with this person, and I know what their predictable kinds of things are, and I've got a good idea of how I'm going to manage myself. I can't be a reactor. I have to be somebody that stays within my own well-conceived ideas of right and good. So what I'm saying is, when you're engaging with somebody that you've identified as highly narcissistic, stay alert. You're dealing with a very emotionally immature and unhealthy person. And by the way, a rule of thumb that I tend to hold on to is when you're dealing in conflict with somebody like this, the rule of thumb is the more negative person wins, in the sense that they feel like they're going to be in control. And so my response to that is, you go right ahead and you're thinking toward me, thinking you're the winner and I'm the loser, because you see, I don't play the game. This is not a competition for me. My goal is to stay true to what I know is wise and best and mature. Plain and simple. I hope that videos such as this give you some good food for thought. And like I say, this is a good layout for you to have the healthy boundaries that you need to have with these individuals. You have to guard your heart, unfortunately. If you've not already done so, I would strongly encourage you to hit that subscribe button. There's a notification bell there, and we'd like to bring more videos to you so that you can help sift this out. If you have a need for any kind of therapy, if there's someone in your area that you could utilize in that regard, I would certainly encourage that. Or if you would prefer, I have a sponsor that provides online therapy. There's a link below that can take you to that. There's a whole team of licensed professional experienced counselors that can help you there. I've received good feedback, which is why I've aligned myself with these individuals and take advantage of that if the need is there. In addition, I put together courses, video courses where there are multiple videos with teachings alongside and lots of personal reflections, questions. It's a lot of work. I put a lot of work into it. It would require a lot of work for you, but it's a very therapeutic processing on many topics. One course is called This Is Me. It's about setting boundaries. The other is Free to Be. It's about finding yourself despite controllers. We also have links to our books and other resources, so that's why it's all down here. We're really wanting to, down beneath the video, we're wanting to be a good resource for you. Okay, you can't really ascribe normalcy to these individuals, but what you can do is you can bring your healthiness, knowing full well that they won't go along with that, but at the same time, you can let it be known to anybody that needs to know, I'm on Team Healthy. I stand for dignity, respect, and civility. And in doing so, that positions you to be a person of steadiness. And my hope is that you would also be poised to be that person of peace.